Hello, and welcome to this 7 Days to Die video. This is Balkoff, and I've sort of entitled this video as A14 Boot Camp. Why? I received a message on the 7 Days to Die forum saying, I've been playing 7 Days to Die for ages now, feels like. I've only recently begun playing solo, and the current version is kicking my butt. I've been failing to survive the 7th day horde, and last time we had a couple of us, we were overrun by the 14th. You mentioned in a forum post here that you'd be open to making a video as a kind of tutorial. I'd be keen to see such a thing. I've just been playing Nomad with the default settings on random generation. Therefore, we have this video. Standard default settings, Nomad, random generation. And I'm going to try to talk a bit more about the whys of what I'm doing, more than I probably would in most videos. And I'm also going to try to stick to some basic tactics here. I'm not going to be doing fancy things that are more advanced tricks or tips, which, yeah, they work a bit better than the stuff I'll be doing at times, but they're also more complex and more likely to confuse a person who's struggling in the first place. That kind of stuff can come later. Right now we're going to just focus on the basics, the fundamentals, boot camp. Without further ado, let's get going. Alright, here we go. Day 1 goal, find a space for a base. Things we're looking for. Clay. You might think, wait, clay? Yeah, see, there was an issue in A13 where clay could sometimes not appear at all on random gen maps, as far as people could tell. I haven't had that seen that really happen in A14, so it's unlikely that's going to be a problem, but it is worth noting that that is one thing we are going to be requiring. 2. Water. We need access to water in some shape, whether that's snow, or whether that is actual water, of course. Like the actual water down there, it looks like. 3. Flat terrain. That one, I think, kind of speaks for itself. You'd like flatter terrain when you're building a base, because you want to build your base on flat terrain. Makes the zombies follow better movement, means you're not trying to brace your base at weird angles, and so on and so forth. And we also want to be semi-near civilization, though that's probably not going to be so much of an issue on this map. We only have 1 stone left, that's what I thought. Okay. Now the tutorial, I guess we can sort of follow it a bit at the start, but it's not always even a good idea to be doing right at the start, in all sort of frankness. Especially you don't want to be putting on a hood long term in the desert or something, or the burned out zone if that's where you started. What am I doing here? This is the side of a road. This is gravel. I don't even remember if this existed back in Alpha 13. But since concrete in Alpha 14 now requires sand, gravel is an extremely valuable resource, and finding little roads made of gravel, or roads that have this gravel on the side of them, is an excellent way to be getting stone and sand all at once, especially since the large stone rocks were severely nerfed. In terms of their output / yield. This is this is preemptively completing the next quest, which is put on the clothes you just made. Pretty crazy. I don't want us to make a wooden club. We'll cue that up so that occurs after we finish these stone shovels. Why did I queue up more stone shovels? Because that'll help us be skilling up our skill throughout the day. things I really need to do, though, is find some feathers. I'm probably just going to build out of cobblestone. Why? Because it's good XP to upgrade it, and if you build out of wood, the problem is then I guess you could tear down the wood, so maybe that would work. That is now an interesting question. Maybe I will just make it out of wood entirely to start. Wood is tough enough to be fine for... I mean, theoretically, you could even make it work for the first horde. I probably wouldn't. But you could. The goal here is it's just a temporary measure. Okay. Maybe it's a bird's nest. Finally. Queue up some arrows, then we'll queue up the bow. The good news about the plant fiber is that it does not require any stamina to harvest at the exact same rate of 2 per punch. You can punch indefinitely like this, and we will need a massive amount of it, so we are not losing anything in this regard. Once that's done, we can use that to try to kill this deer. Hit R to reload. Just for the arc. Go. Got another deer there. Interesting. To make a bone shiv now. Bone shiv will harvest more effectively than a stone axe will, and will lose less of the material, which is further improved by hunter knife or machete. You notice that we went into sneak mode there, and now the deer is crossing the water for some reason, which means it is slowed to a crawl, and we can do something like that if we want. I'm underwater momentarily. You'll notice that on the left-hand side in the bottom there's an oxygen meter that is, I think, a new feature in A14. I don't recall that being there in A13. I've also only been playing since about partway through A13, and I am basing things off of that, so I have no idea what the good old days or whatever were like. I just know what I've seen. I don't even know what happened there. We're just going to pretend that violation of, like, the space-time continuum did not happen. That's kind of weird. Alright, so right now we are looking for flat terrain. We don't even, it's not even worth carrying around nails. Really. We're going to need some iron, though. For an anvil, for rebar frames, etc. So, and now that I think about it, it's like, is it even worth actually chopping this rock up yet? Probably not. It's better to actually construct our structure first. And that, of course. Is that grizzly bear chasing the deer? I really hope so. Okay, then we're just gonna wander to this side. And we're going to need to find more freaking bird's nests. And deal with zombies. You sort of saw what I did there, hopefully. I did a bow shot to the head, knocked it over. Then I hit it with a melee weapon while on the head while it was stunned to finish it off. As long as this isn't giving us the constant water sounds. Okay, that should be fine. You'd have to be like right next to the lake to hear it. So, I think right now we found a spot for our base. This like flat-ish region. It means we need to clear the area of some plant fibers. And we'll need to gather some lumber. We can go ahead and start crafting some of these. That was somebody on the same Mumble server as I'm on right now. It's possible somebody will log on and say hi to me and want to do something, at which point I will interrupt this video and pick up at a later time. Latest patch has made building a bit odd for initial bases, especially since you can get concrete so quickly and guaranteed. It's kind of a, what do you build with at the start? Wood is just the simplest and easiest to gather. Cobblestone has the problem of requiring plant fibers, which you're wanting to make tools. It gives, you know, better upgrade XP it seems than iron, but I don't know if it actually gives better than wood. And if you're going to have to destroy the blocks anyway to replace with rebar frames, then it kind of seems you might as well be doing that with wood. But that just might be me being insane, of course. Okay, so how are we going to be building the base? We are going to be making a 6 by 8 base. It'll be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we can put the other 5 there. And then we need a lot more wood frames. And when I say a lot, I mean a lot. We can go ahead and make the stone axe. And queue up a bunch more frames. That was not what I intended to do. Come on. Let's try to equip that. Okay, back together in lumber. We're up to doing a whole 16 per hit so far. Amazing. Make sure the tree's not about to fall on our heads. It's always a nice thing to double check.
Disconnected.
I'm not going to bother doing the bedroll quite yet. because that is then also going to involve the campfire after that. You could make a bedroll and just throw it down on the ground if you wanted, I suppose, but that definitely is not any kind of pressing issue. Make some more storage chests. Hey, we got a bear over there. Hi, Mr. Bear. You go ahead and watch that flank for zombies, okay? We got this side. Now that we have this here, we'll put it, let's say, put it near the backpack. This is our good chest of stuff that we actually care about. As opposed to the bad chest of stuff, which is, you'll see soon enough. So the bad chest gets stuff like this. We'll go ahead and put them over there. And those chests basically exist just to throw stone shovels in during the day, as we will be leveling up our crafting. Well, specifically our crafting of toolsmithing to get better tools available. And as you can see, this stone axe is already below half durability, so that's going to be included at some point too. But we have enough to fill in 20 blocks in the meantime, so now you might be wondering, like, why bother to make this much here? Why not make something smaller or whatever? Well, the answer is we want to be making this eventually. We could make it smaller and then, like, expand out afterward, but that's also going to probably result in us making wood frames temporarily and filling them in to get construction tool skill. So it's kind of a, well, let's just get it out of the way here at the start. And if you're running shorter on time, you could, of course, leave these floor bits for later. And there is a few specific reasons for why we're doing this height and this length, and we'll talk about those as we go along. Part of it has to do with not wanting any kind of critical part of the interior, like forges or storage chests, to be touching the exterior walls, because some of the zombies have a nasty habit of hitting the wall they're targeting and doing a little bit of damage to stuff next to the wall on the other side. So you don't really want a circumsituation. I'm going to throw these chests, these shovels into these chests. While we're waiting on those stone axes to reappear, let's dig up a bit of gravel. Since the stone nerf to the large white stones, unless you're with a steel pickaxe and can two-shot them, or eventually one-shot them, doesn't really feel to be much point in attacking them, because they just give a really bad stone ratio now. They were massively nerfed compared to A13. Here's what it is. You'll notice we're now up to doing 23 damage per hit. near level 2. I'm going to need more frames. And since this is crafted in the background, that's more XP for us, which of course is a nice thing. I'm debating whether to pick up Quicker Crafting or Sexual Tyrannosaurus here. Sexual Tyrannosaurus gives more generic overall stamina, Quicker Crafting gives you better, faster leveling. It may depend upon when we had level 3. If we had level 3, you know, during the night or just prior to the night, then probably Quicker Crafting. But we'll see. So this will give us another 600 or so lumber. The wood frame is 5, and each upgrade costs 10, which means it's 25 wood per fully upgraded wood frame, which we're wanting to do, not even for the protection value, but for the fact we want the construction tool skill ASAP, because that's essential to unlocking both concrete and steel. Like I said, in other games, when I tried to go with, well, even with wood or cobblestone first, take your pick. Did the pig stop? Oh, the pig acting kind of weird there. I think the pig's heading for water, so I stopped to look at the bird's nest. We still have about another 10 minutes, a little over 10 minutes until night hits. It's a little over 2 real-life minutes per in-game hour. Let's grab another fresh stone axe, and we are back to chopping things down with a vengeance. I'm honestly not sure what the best way is to be building, if there is even really a best way to be building initially. At this point, cobblestone's, you know, too weak to really last some time. Iron is feasible, but if you're looking to get concrete, taking the time to get iron seems like kind of a waste of time. Adobe and brick don't give you construction tool XP, so that makes them bad in terms of, you know, initial building where you're trying to unlock higher end materials. So that realistically leaves wood or cobblestone. So take it for what it's worth, I guess. I mean, if you're really struggling to try to erect a large enough fort the first day, you can always just seal part of it off or just make a smaller one or stay in a prefab the first night. Like I said, part of the reason I'm building this initial thing this large is this is what our final fort will be. And in the past, you know, I've been in the situations like, okay, let's just toss wood frames down on the floor and upgrade them, and then just keep throwing more down and upgrading them, just like in a random spot in the world, solely because we needed construction tool skilling up. One of these we're actually going to be destroying later on the floor for a mine shaft, but I'm not really worried about which one yet. It's wood, it's easy enough to break down. Oh, there we go, level 3, huh? So I'm probably just gonna go with Sexual Tyrannosaurus then. I'm just filling in the frames. And remember, one of the reasons that we're doing this versus gathering more wood right now is doing this then gives us a bonus to harvesting with the stone axe itself. And this gives a lot more experience than chopping stuff down in the world. But it benefits the chopping stuff down in the world. Why did that stop? Weird. Nearly up to 20, which is what we will need for concrete. Then we'll have to get it up to 40 for steel. And that is the trickier one. So if we were going to say, where is the entrance likely to be? Let's just say we're going to come from this direction. I'll explain more about this later on. Basically, we're going to have a ramp, an empty row, then the forges and supply boxes, then another empty row going across from that direction. That is sort of our ultimate goal. How much more lumber do we have? We actually have a decent chunk still, so... And I mean, technically speaking at this point, with a few additions to this right now, we could have a fort easily capable of holding off this 7-day horde by the end of day 2. Basically, we just need to put on some overhangs to stop spider zombies. And then we need to put like 2 or 3 layers of the default wood spikes around the perimeter. And during the actual horde night, if necessary, lure the zombies sort of around the base so they keep stepping on new spikes and watch them die beneath you. Now you might be wondering, this is great and all, but I didn't see a door. And that's where that whole here's where the entrance will be part comes in. Because we are going to be using doors. Doors are, or at least have been in the past. I've seen some information that some people posted on the internet forums, so obviously that's the most reliable and accurate information, that it's possible zombies are, I don't know, less beelining maybe for doors, or I'm not quite sure. The testing remains to be done, but somebody seemed to be claiming that. But if you have a door, unless it's like a vault steel reinforced door, chances are it's substantially generally weaker than the other parts of your defenses, so you don't really want zombies flocking to it. Because they are smart zombies who magically know where doors and stuff are. For reasons. Because. Hopefully that clears matters up. Alright. Up to 26 per hit. Also, we're going to need a few more stone axes. Just make 4 for now. an item hits half durability, it'll start doing less and less damage. Until it actually hits half durability, though, it stays at full effectiveness. Tooltip is wrong, or it lies, however you prefer to put it. So if you're looking at an item at like 3/4 durability and you're like, wow, it's doing less, well, actually no, it's not. Just claims that. And you can test that. You know, I'm doing... I'll show you in a second here. How about that? Trying to let the durability wear down a bit more before I actually go and show this. This will hopefully be conclusive enough. So, right now, we are doing, clearly, 26 damage per hit, right? That is continuing. Tooltip says we are going to do 19.95 damage a hit. That is definitely not right, because we are definitely doing 26 damage a hit here. Ergo, Tooltip lies. Sworn that it's completely right. Maybe that's why I exploded the second time? I don't know. That was a bit weird. So we're just going to smile and nod, I think. And we're also going to go ahead and make, say, another 10 of these chests. Because we'll need them. And after this tree, we should probably head on back just to be playing it safe. We could get away with not returning to base quite yet, but not for much longer. I'm try to avoid cutting too close for the tutorial thing here. We have time to cut this down as well. Do here, we are going to grab the stuff in the good chest, and we are going to set up our entrance really quickly, which we're just going to put one out for now, so you can get used to the idea first. And voila. Now we're going to go ahead and actually put stuff in here, especially the stuff that smells and attracts the animals. I mean zombies. Put our resources there. So we definitely want the stone, the lumber, and then we're going to put down some bad chests over here that will be very temporarily used and then discarded. So the glue can go there too. Okay, so I next need to pause this for a second. Here be. apologize about that. So what are we doing tonight, you might ask? Well, we'll go ahead and get up a little light. And we'll go ahead and get the stone shovels, crafting again. And I meant to fill in that corner, but obviously I did not. So, oops. The corners are the one thing you can't reach from inside. Looks like I didn't get to around to the upper row for most of it there. Ultimately, we're going to want to put a 5th row on, but that seems like that's probably going to be, well, we could probably do it tonight. Alternative method of doing that, just to demonstrate over here, right, is you just say, okay, I'm going to put down wood frame to get up there. And once you have the 4 corners in place, the rest is pretty simple, because you can play off the existing ones. Be upgraded easily from within. So this is sort of the main floor and the centerpiece of the fort we'll be building, except we're going to be putting all of these wood walls into concrete walls. Catch being, it looks like we're only at, what, 26 construction tools is I think what we just hit. Sorry, 25. Now we hit 26. Sorry. Almost to level 5. All of these shovels can be going in these trash crates over here. Another 30 shovels. This back corner is going to be where we dig. So I'm going to go ahead and destroy this now. For tonight, I'm probably just going to go straight down. And worry about building the basement properly once we have more lumber, because we just don't have enough to really be doing that tonight. Because we're going to want to use a bunch of the lumber of the wood on clubs. Now you may be wondering, why are we, if we dig straight down, how do we get back up? It's a process called nerd pulling, I think is the typical name coming from Minecraft, I think is where it originated, where you jump up and place something beneath you. And since you can pick frames back up, we can use that to descend right back down as needed. These. One of the other reasons we're digging down is not just because it gives a little bit of stone. This is the equivalent of the white rocks on the surface, which you see are only 500 HP now if you're used to Alpha 13, and they only give 25 stone total. You used to be able to get 187 stone per voxel levels, and if you reduce that by half because their HP got halved, then you'd still be looking at, what, 94-ish, roughly? Not 25. So basically, these suck if you're just going for pure stone now. Except for maybe much later on in the game when they're still bad, just not quite as bad. And the ability to be mining continuously helps. So what are we really after? What we're really after is a mineral vein. The ability to find things like nitrate powder and coal for gunpowder, lead for different types of ammunition, iron for, you know, everything that uses iron, which is a heck of a lot. We'll be excavating a large portion beneath our base, but we'll be doing it in a very specific method to make sure we don't collapse the entire base on top of us, because that would be kind of awkward if that happened. And we'll go over all of that as we get closer to it. For right now, let's just worry about returning to the surface and working on some wooden clubs. We'll continue our subterranean expedition another day. Why am I not queuing up the maximum? Well, see, the game does not update the crafting speed based upon how much you have progressed. Makes it kind of awkward. So, you're thinking, well, I'll queue up 200, and as I gain skill and the speed required is lessened, we could be grabbing crafting right now, couldn't we? It doesn't adjust at all. So, by queuing up a smaller number, you avoid some of the sheer hassle of trying to queue up like one at a time or something, and eventually they'll craft fast enough that you couldn't even do that successfully, I think. The wooden club specifically, I mean. But, you see how it says, like, it said like the 105 back then? Once this is done and we've gotten a little bit more weapon crafting skill, we will take a look and see how much that has potentially changed. It should have decreased a little bit at least. So trying to queue up like 200 at once is going to result in a wildly... you saw right there it already decreased from 103 to 102, for example. You probably think, well, that's not too much, but will that happen in the span of what? 20-ish clubs, maybe? Shaved off a second? And if you actually apply that to the whole thing, because that was a very rough approximation right there, you can wind up shaving off full minutes, especially if you pick up things like quicker crafting as you're going along. So sort of our first day report here, while focusing primarily on just trying to get construction tool skill up, we still managed to get tools up to the mid 250s. And we'll see what weapons end up at. See, we've gone from 103 to 59 now. Shaved off 4 seconds per batch of this. Add that up over the course of the night and you're talking about entire minutes shaved off. And since the night is only, I guess on this it's what, a third, so it's like 16 minutes. If you're shaving off, you know, a minute and a half, it's like 10% more stuff you can do during the night, for example. I'm going to go ahead and start excavating slightly here. What am I going to do specifically? I'm going to be digging out part of these outer wall and putting the wood frame in that exact spot. This is sort of our line of do not mine underneath this. But wait, I'm thinking, you're mining underneath it right now. True, but I mined underneath it and then replacing. That is the key. You actually need it to be an uninterrupted filled voxels, filled squares, boxes, however you want to refer to it. So yes, I am undermining that temporarily at one point, and when it has plenty of support, and then I am filling the gap left there, and using that to define the edge of the mine we'll be making. Then you might be thinking, well, why bother defining the outer line? Why not leave it alone? There's a few potential reasons, but right now one of the most practical, you notice that I needed to remove that piece in order to access the corner fully. But right now, there seems to be a bug going on where zombies can sense you, well, through the ground. Which is kind of awkward. You're down here digging in the basement, you know, there's like 10 layers of dirt, maybe even stone between you and the zombie, and all of a sudden you're hunted. Normal zombies, not necessarily the worst thing in the world, especially if you have spikes up, but if you have a screamer hunting you like that, and she starts screaming, and you start getting multiple hordes appearing at night, then that is kind of a big problem. So... that looks like it's roughly basically going to be the limit. We might be able to get one more club out here, I think. I basically sacrificed a bit of raw tool and weapon quality in order to try to get the full-sized sort of base up and get, how to put it, I mean, we're already to the point where we can unlock concrete, right? And we're trying to get to the point where we can unlock steel. We need 2 more hides. And we need 2 short iron pipes. We need a bit of clay and stone too, but those are pretty trivial compared to the pipes and other stuff. So you see that we're nearly through the night. The meantime, I'm going to be expanding this here. You know, if you look carefully, like basically, I guess you can't really see it on the map, but I'm having the... what's the floor up above is effectively being the floor down here as well. The outer walls define the edge of the pit, and everything besides that is being excavated. That is our goal. So this thing we're digging right here, that's going to be filled. The entire outer edge will be filled with wood frames. We're probably going to want to upgrade some of the ones closest to the ground level with something even tougher than wood, because it's possible zombies may hit them. Which we'll do later on, but for now this is sufficient. And if we had a forge on, I kind of wouldn't be daring to be digging right now, because the screamer could see me through the ground. Because zombie magic, I guess. And it is time for day 2, so I will stop this video and we will start day 2.